let's get started. Well, I guess since we are in Orlando and Julia Poe is on, let's start with Julia. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Vlatko. Thank you so much for the time, as always. Like you said, we have Allie coming up here in a little bit. I'm just wondering, how are you kind of seeing her fit into this back line? She's moved into center back before for Orlando. So kind of how do you see her fitting into the system, and how is she doing with that role?
First, I have to say, Ali's been a true professional and true warrior for this team, and she doesn't ask questions whether she's going to be a center back or full back or wherever she's going to play. She would do anything for this team, and she's proved that in the past, and she has the mentality going forward. Now, in terms of where we see her going forward, we know that what she can do and where she stands as a center back. I would not be surprised if we see her as a fullback in the upcoming game.
There you go, Julia. Let's go to Seth Bertelny. Seth, you're up.
Hey, Vlatko, thanks again for the time. I just wanted to follow up on something you said a couple weeks ago regarding Alex Morgan and her COVID diagnosis. You said that your chief medical officer and the medical staff were going to be looking into an incident with Alex, and that you would try to correct it if there's anything that needs to be corrected going forward. I was just wondering if there was any update on that, and just an update on Alex's condition in general.
So first, we're very happy to hear that Alex is doing great, and everything in terms of COVID is behind her. She has been training well. She passed all the medical tests and screenings that she's supposed to in order to get back on the field and start training. So she's back on the field training, which is great. And in terms of the protocol, we have a call in between the camps where our chief medical officer updates us on all the changes going forward. So I'm sure we're going to know if there's something that we need to change, or if there was something that we didn't do right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Seth, I'll jump in there for a second. I think you misinterpreted that last press conference a little bit. It wasn't that there was any sort of investigation launched. It's just that we're always looking for ways to make sure that our players and staff are safe and that everyone's following the protocols. So, FYI.
Okay, thanks, Aaron.
Okay. Let's go to Matt Pence. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Vlatko, I'm working on a story about Lynn Williams, and I wanted to ask you, A, what you think her most impressive quality is as a player, and B, what makes her so valuable within your system specifically?
So, first, Lynn's got a lot of qualities. She is her athleticism is always welcome on this team. Her athleticism is welcome on any team. She has ability to penetrate on the side and break teams down, and assist, especially on this team playing wide forward. She finds herself isolated in 1v1 situation a lot, so we see her penetrating and setting up players in goal scoring opportunities. But one other thing that is very important for us that Lynn brings to this team is her tenacity out of possession and ability to close opponents, put extreme pressure on the defenders, and create turnovers that we are able to capitalize on after that.
That it, Matt? He's muted again. So I think we're good. Let's go to Kevin Baxter. Go ahead, Kevin. Kev, you need to unmute. There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Vlatko, thanks again for your time. Thanks for doing this. Hope you're well. I wanted to ask you, your last game of 2020 was against the Netherlands, a great team, and your first game of 2021 is against Colombia. And when you look at how your team dominated, at least statistically, I'm wondering how you look at that game and what you try to get out of games like the Colombia game. And Is it difficult keeping your players motivated when the games seem to be so one-sided?
Yes, I agree. I feel like we dominated the game, but I don't think that was our best performance. And in our recap with the team, the players agreed that that was not our best performance, which is good and bad. Why is it bad? It's bad because we didn't play our best, so there's still room. We still have to do better. But what is good is we dominate the team. We win 4-0. We create so many opportunities, and we all know that we can get better, and we all agree, and we are all looking forward, and are willing to do whatever it takes to get better. So it just speaks about the mentality and the approach of the team. We don't look at the opponent and go with the mindset of doing what is enough to win the game. We just look at ourselves and go with the mindset. What does it take to be the best version of ourselves? And that's our main motivation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kev. Let's go to Sophie Nicolau. Go ahead, Soph.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Looking younger as ever.
Not true, but thank you.
Hi, Coach. Thank you so much for your time today. Just wanted to ask you from your perspective, one of the stories that's really interesting from an international perspective is kind of you inheriting this team from a legendary coach who has won so much at the highest level and inheriting some of the greatest players that this US women's national team has ever seen as well. So would love to know from you, how do you feel you're making your mark on the team and some of the things that you're trying to infuse to kind of take ownership of your legacy and your new chapter as you're trying to rewrite how the US women's team is moving forward? From an international perspective, we've admired these women and the achievements for so long that have ignited so many countries to kind of follow suit and try to achieve what they have over the last 25, 30 plus years.
Right. So first, what Jill did with this team is absolutely incredible. And I've said this before, she was hired to win one World Cup and she won two. So not, the only coach in the history that has ever done that. And she took this team to high level or next level. Now coming in, it's incredible to see the mindset of the team and the culture on this team is. They don't want to sit where they're at. Like the environment is set up in a way that we know that if we sit where we're at, that other teams are going to surpass us. So every day we go with the mindset of what can we do to get better? What can we do to evolve? What can we do to develop in certain areas? And I always say that there's always areas that we can evolve it, and not because the team was not good enough. It's because the game is changing. The soccer game is evolving, so we have to evolve and we have to stay ahead of the curve. That's one thing. But then another thing, being the best in the world is not just staying ahead, is being a trendsetter, change the game and be the first one, so everybody else follows. So that's what we've been focusing on, being ahead with these changes, or follow the changes, continue the movement of evolving. And when it comes down to a team like the best teams in the world, those things are not huge. Like we're not better than other teams, like significantly better than other teams in one particular area. But our focus is to be the best in several areas, be better than 1%, and that's what we're striving for. 1% in every little thing that we can come up with.
And sorry, Aaron, just to follow up, and Coach, how do you feel like your energy, your characteristics, your style is infusing itself on this particular team?
I think we can see a little bit of it throughout these games. Obviously, one thing that we've spent a lot of time on, or significant amount of time on, has been defending, and just the fact that we haven't had a shot on goal in the last 180 minutes. It's pretty spectacular, regardless of who we play, and we're going to continue growing in that area, not just as a defensive line and goalkeeper as a team, but we're also working on so many details on being more sophisticated in the attacking third as well.
Great stuff. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's go to Jackie Gutierrez. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Vlatko, for taking some time. Kind of going off that idea of bringing the best, talking about Monday's performance, and you got the 4-0 win, but overall for you, what do you envision the best to look like for your team, especially for tomorrow?
So, like I said, on the defensive side, we've spent quite a bit of time working on it, and I think things are falling in place the way we see it, the way we envision it going forward. On the attacking side, like I said before, I want to be more sophisticated and just develop the killer instinct in and around the box and take advantage of the opportunities that we create, because the first area that we needed to improve on is create opportunities, which I think that we're doing very good at. Now it's the last part, is the final touch, the sophistication, the killer instinct, the finishing that we need to develop, which now we're not where we want to be. But I also want to add, it's January, and it's January camp after a slow year altogether for soccer around the world. So once the players get back to their markets and they start getting more touches on a daily basis and start competing on a daily basis, that will help us also get to the point where we want to be as a team.
Thanks, Vlatko.
Yep, thank you.
Let's go to Alonso Contreras. Go ahead, Alonso.
Thank you, Aaron. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Yep.
Coach, most of the goals came from crosses, except for the PK, and you say that it needs to get better. Are we going to see a different formation or tactics that you want to play against Colombia tomorrow?
I don't know if we're going to see different tactics or formation, but we certainly will see different approach or at certain things, different approach. Obviously, as a team, we always work on different ways to penetrate and create goal scoring opportunities. And whatever the opponent gives us, we need to take. So if they give us crosses, we're going to take crosses. If they give us shots, we're going to take shots. If they give us penetration, 1v1 isolation and penetrating, that's what we're going to take. So it's hard for me to predict what we're going to do, but we every time when we go to a game or when we create the game plan, it involves minimum three or four different approaches.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to Jonathan Tannenwald. Go ahead, JT.
Thank you, Aaron. Hi again, Vlatko.
Hey.
Dovetails a little bit off, I realize what you've been asked already, but how much are you expecting to rotate the squad tomorrow night? And if it's still 6 subs, are you going to take 7 on the bench again for an 18-player game day roster? How's that?
Yeah, so 18 players will be on the game day roster, and rotation will be, I would say, significant. So we're gonna see players that didn't play or didn't start, and that's what these games are all about. We want to see what players can do under pressure. We want to see how different players are connecting with certain players are connecting with different players. We want to see connection, how different subgroups are doing, or how they're going to do against a good opponent. So yes, we will use hopefully all 6 subs. And I just want to make it clear. I know I said it in the press conference after the game. We were going to use 6 subs in the last game, but Sophie Smith got injured a little bit in the warm up, and she was not able to come in the game. Otherwise, she was planned to come in on halftime.
Thanks, JT. Let's go. Last couple for Vlatko here. Let's go to Dan Pentland. Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, Vlatko. Just a quick question. In England, we haven't really heard a lot on this yet, but once the camp comes to an end, obviously, it's quite a quick turnaround for the She Believes. What's the plan for the Manchester City players? Will they remain in the US, or will they return back home for a couple of weeks?
So the Manchester City players will return. They have a couple important fixtures, and one of them is against their city's rival, and also it's against a team that has U.S. Women National Team players as well. So I'm sure they're looking forward to that one, and right after that they're going to be in camp as well, if they get called up.
There you go. Sandra Herrera. Go ahead, Sandra.
All right, it's the first part. You're getting so great at these pressers, Vlatko. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
As always. I wanted to just follow up really quickly on Sophia Smith. I was going to ask about, because you did mention that in the previous post-game press conference. Is she doing all right? Is it just sort of just a knock? And should we be on the lookout for maybe any other potential knocks to other players?
Yes, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, it happened right before the game, and we didn't want to take any chance. And she's not going to be on the roster for the upcoming game for the same reason. But like I said in the previous answer, that Soph was going to come in on halftime. She was going to come in as a left forward, but we just had to rotate, do a couple of rotation, and Kat ended up as a left forward. You know, one thing is for sure, when we're preparing for the game, obviously we're preparing for how we're going to play offensively, defensively, but we also prepare for different scenarios. What if somebody gets injured in the warm-up? What if you have an injury in the first half? What if we have to change 2 forwards or 2 defenders? So we go through about 11 or 12 different scenarios so we can react. Unfortunately, in this game, things like this happen, and I'm just glad that we were ready to react immediately.
Yeah, just to follow up on the opposition with Colombia. Now that you've had a few days to sit with the match on Monday, maybe look at some footage, what would you sort of identify were maybe some of the challenges that they presented to you? I know maybe that's difficult to find in a game that has a 4-0 scoreline, but they were missing 4 players, and what did you see from them?
Right, with the players coming back, and especially in the way they played, it's pretty obvious that they're a very technical team, and they're able to break teams down with small and accurate, or short and accurate passes. And one thing that impressed me the most was the ability to overcome pressure or to solve problems under pressure in 1v1 duels. They're very confident on the ball and very technical. So those were the area that we highlighted as an area of focus for us defensively going forward. And obviously there are always other things that we need to worry about.
Thanks, V. Last one goes to John Babiak. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Aaron. Coach, can you speak to how Mallory Pugh has been performing in your camp? Thank you.
Yes, Mel started very good, and she got injured day 3 of camp, and since then she has been rehabbing. But in the first two trainings, she was very good, performed well. But unfortunately, we couldn't count on Mel for these 2 games.